Hey Odyssey Scholars, Ms. Jacoby here. In this masterclass video tutorial, I'm going to show you how to use a program called Adobe Photoshop Express to edit photos. You probably have heard of Adobe Photoshop before. Adobe is a paid for program suite that does lots of different things like video editing and photo editing and document editing, all that stuff. But the good news is they recently created programs in their Express brand, and that is all free. So Adobe Photoshop Express is a free program that you can download. Alright, so after you go to Adobe Photoshop Express, either on a Windows computer or an Apple computer, download it and install it, and then when you open the program, this is what it'll look like. Alright, so we're going to edit from a photo that I've already taken. So if you go to Pictures Library, it's going to bring up a selection from your computer. My picture is saved on our desktop, and it's this one here. So you just go through and find the picture that you want to use. This was a photo that I took on my cell phone of my parents' dog when I was at their house back during Christmas time. Alright? Cute puppy. And you can see in the background, it was Christmas time because it was decorated for Christmas. So, in the center of the screen is the original image, and then all of these choices here on the left are all effects that you can do to the picture. Alright? With these three circles right here, these are filters that are pre-created. So, kind of like when you think of Snapchat filters or filters on Instagram or like Facetune, these are filters that exist already where you don't really have to mess with brightness or anything. They're preset filters. Alright, so under basic, if you click this arrow, these are all different kinds of filters that exist already. Okay, so let's say we wanted to go for this look. Alright, when you choose a filter, this drag bar is going to show up at the bottom, and basically the more you pull it towards the right, the more intense the filter is. The more you pull it to the left, the less intense the filter is. Alright, so if we decide we don't want a filter, we just go back to normal, and this is our original photo again. Okay, so all of these are different types of filters. Okay, so there's so many options with this program. Charm has all these different kinds of filters, and again, you just pick one and drag to make it strength, like how strong you want that filter to be. Okay, so every single one of these sections has tons and tons of filters in it. Alright, lots of different choices, which is pretty cool. And we're just going to go back to our normal picture so I can show you the other options. So again, these are all preset filters that exist. Now let's say you want to do a little bit more intense editing. This option here is to rotate and mirror the image. So let's say you take a selfie, but you want it to not be mirrored. You can flip it so that it would be like taking it with your rear camera on your cell phone. You can also kind of like turn the picture if you wanted to. So let's say you took the picture and your camera was a little bit sideways, you can fix it. Or if I want to have some kind of cool like sideways effect, you can do that as well. And again, taking it back to 0 is at normal. Then with aspect ratio, you have all these different preset crop settings. So let's say you want to create a square picture for Instagram, because Instagram photos are squares. You can crop it and it'll give you the set dimensions for that. Or let's say you wanted to create a Twitter post. It'll give you this set size for what Twitter posts are. Or you can always do it yourself. Alright, you can have it go back to whatever your original things are. Okay? And if we want to get rid of this, we can just click undo and it brings us back to the original. Alright, so that is what this symbol is for. When we go to this symbol, this is our corrections tab. So with corrections, there's lots of different options. Alright, you can correct light, color, you can correct different effects, details, split tones, and blur. Alright, so let's say with light, you can mess with the exposure. So let's say you take a picture and the picture is really dark. You can add the exposure filter and then drag this and you can make it lighter. Or if you take a picture with flash and it's too bright, you can bring the exposure down to make it darker. Totally up to you. Alright, contrast is what makes your color a little bit more intense in the picture. The more contrast you add, the more different and richer the colors get. Contrast is usually something that I mess with, and then I also do highlights on top of that if I'm not using a preset filter already. Alright, highlights again, you can just drag to see what the effects are. Alright, so that's light, and then with color, you can mess with saturation, vibrance, tint. These are all kind of more intense editing terms. If you go to YouTube and look up Adobe Photoshop Express tutorials, they can walk you through exactly what all of these options do for you. Some neat things also with split tone is sometimes these things look like those Andy Warhol pictures, like of the soup can. So you have lots of different options. Another really cool one is blur. So let's say if we did full, radial I mean, you're going to get this circle in the center of the page, and basically what that means is everything outside the circle is going to be really blurry, everything inside the circle is going to be very much in focus. So you can make the circle a different size and drag it around. So let's say I want maybe just his nose to be super in focus. Then what I can do is do that, and then I can increase the blur outside of it like this. Alright, so now when you look at that, only his nose is in focus and everything else is out of focus. And then if you don't like it again, you can just back out of it. Alright? With the Band-Aid, this is spot heal. So with this type of picture, I'm not really going to use spot heal anymore, but if you were to take a close-up picture of, say, someone's face, and maybe they had a blemish you wanted to hide or something like that, then you can adjust the size of your brush, which you can see that circle in the center like that, and you just click where the issue is and it will blur that area to kind of cover it up. And the last option here is red eye. Red eye is where you take a picture of the camera and it is what it sounds like. The iris of the person's eye turns red, or the dog's eye would turn red, and you can fix it using that here. Alright, so lots of cool options with Adobe Photoshop Express. Again, it's totally free to use. It is much more sophisticated than things like Facetune or your Instagram filters, so it's a really cool way for you to mess and manipulate with photos and things like that. Alright, so if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'm super excited to see how you guys use this information.